beautiful friends, it's Amanda here, and today we're doing another inspired BYOP. This is a little mini series on my channel where I use my single eyeshadows to create my own palette based on the color stories of other palettes that have been discontinued or perhaps are just a little too expensive for my taste. This time I'm inspired by the latest release from McGrath Labs. She's released this stunning palette. It's called the Mothership Celestial Divinity eyeshadow palette. I really love the color story. Basically my favorite kind of color story. It's part neutral and part jewel tones. Really pretty. Some of my favorite shades to wear in here. There's some purples, some golds, some really pretty pops of pink and green. The palette is absolutely beautiful. I've heard nothing but good things about the McGrath eyeshadows. Personally, I've never tried them. Honestly, it's just really the price tag that's kept me away this long. And like I said, I've never tried them, so in no way am I saying that it's not worth it. I just really haven't taken the plunge yet. This palette is $78. You can find it at Sephora if you want to check it out for yourself. It has 18 eyeshadow shades in here. So this is the palette that I am inspired by today. I am mixing it up for this video. Often I just use my ColourPop eyeshadow singles because I have a pretty extensive collection. Usually I can find everything I need. But for this palette, I've mixed it up a little bit. I am also including some shades from Sydney Grace and Adept Cosmetics. They just had the perfect colors that I needed for this color story. Before I show you the palette I built, I do want to let you know this is in no way meant to be a dupe. It really is just an inspiration palette. I haven't even seen the McGrath palette in person. All I can go off of are swatch pictures online. So there's definitely going to be some subtleties missed. There are a few things that I really love about building my own palettes and using other palettes as inspiration. First of all, it's just really fun. If you've ever tried it, you know it's fun to play with your singles and swatch and experiment with all the different colors. I love using the things that I already have, and I really like encouraging you all to use the things that you already have in your collection too. But I think the best thing about doing these inspiration palettes is that I can tweak things when I want to. If you've watched this series for a while, you know I do often take some creative liberties with my inspired palettes. If I think that two shades look too similar, then I might drop that shade altogether or replace it with something else. That is the case for some of the shadows in this McGrath palette. There are several shimmery gold shades in this palette, and I felt like I could sort of adjust those shadows to meet my own personal tastes in my inspired palette. Plus, I do feel that my biggest criticism of this McGrath palette would be the lack of mattes. From the swatch picture on Sephora, it looks like there are only 3 matte shades, and that's just not quite enough for me. In an 18 shade palette, I really feel like I need more than 3 mattes. I replaced one of those shimmery gold shades with a mustard matte yellow. I feel like this color story is just begging for a mustard matte yellow. I also switched out the really deep shimmery purple for this deep, more cool toned matte brown shade. I think that the addition of these two mattes really rounds out this palette for me personally, especially because with a shade like this really deep, cool, almost neutral brown, you can still get that same dark purple by layering one of the purple shimmers on top, which is something you'll get to see me do when I show you my eye look using my McGrath-ish palette. I did want to explain some of my reasoning for the shades that I chose and switched up a little bit before you see the swatches. I also want to point out before you see the swatches, typically I swatch a palette across like this, but the McGrath swatches are done in columns instead of rows. So I did follow suit there. That way the palette and the swatches will be comparable. Hopefully they'll look similar enough. So the first thing I want to do is show you both color stories in their entirety side by side. That way you can see my swatches next to the Pat McGrath swatches, and you can get an overall feeling for the similarities, the little differences. Now I'm going to show you the same shadows, but I just want to give you a little bit more close-up look, and I'll go ahead and put my shadow names here. I will show you the whole palette with the shade names next. I just want to give you an idea of what these shadows look like applied to the skin, because they do look very different on the skin. A lot of them have a duochrome, shifty type of nature to them. Now that you've seen all the swatches, I just want to give you a moment here to see all the shades laid out. Now's the time if you want to pause and take a screenshot, or pause and write any of these shade names down. This would be the perfect time to do that. Now that you've seen all the shade names, all the swatches, I do want to show you a quick eye look using this palette that I created. So let's take a look at that tutorial, and then I'll wrap up all my thoughts at the end. I'm starting off just like I always do by priming my eyes with my favorite eye base. It's the MAC Paint Pot in the shade Painterly. Then I'm going in with the shade Adore Me. This is a Sydney Grace eyeshadow, and I'm building that into the crease. This is such a highly pigmented eyeshadow that I didn't even have to dip back into the same shade. I just took a little tiny bit on my brush, and then I was able to work that pigment into the crease and also along the lower lash line as well. Next, I'm going to add some depth to this look. I love using this deep brown as a base to create a sort of dark purple. So I'm smudging that along my upper lash line, and I'm also just tapping that upwards on the outer part of my lid towards my crease, and then using whatever is left over on my brush for a little bit of lower lash line lining. Then I'm taking this Adept Cosmetics shadow and just really quickly applying that with my fingertip. Then I'm going to go in with a shade called Twisted Shifter. This is also from Sydney Grace, and I'm putting that on top of that dark matte brown to create that deep purple shade that I omitted from the original palette. Now I'm using Mr. Sandman. This is a ColourPop shadow, and I'm just kind of washing that over the entire look to blend everything together. Then I went back with my original crease shade, Adore Me, and just did a little bit more blending in the transition area. And I wanted even more sparkle. I know there's already a lot, but I wanted some more, so I added a little bit of Thank You Next. Then I curled my lashes and added some of my Huda Beauty Legit Lashes mascara, and that finishes off the look. This is my Celestial Smoky Eye. I really love using a combination of that cool matte and some warmer, more red tone shades to give me that celestial vibe. I really hope that you enjoyed that tutorial or found it helpful. I definitely had fun creating this little palette. I know it's not an exact dupe. It's really not meant to be. It definitely takes some of the pressure off when you're not trying to make an exact dupe, but really just enjoy a color story, take some inspiration, take a little bit of creative leeway, and just play with what you already have, dig into your collection, and enjoy your eyeshadows. I'd love to hear what you think about the palette I created. Have you tried the Pat McGrath palette? Is that a palette that you're interested in? Do you like to create your own palettes? I always love to hear what you think about things too, so make sure you leave all your thoughts down in the comments below. And as always, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in my next video. Bye! What? It's fine. It's going great. Let's try that again. I have no idea what I'm talking about. I keep losing my train of thought. I think I need more caffeine. It's gotta be it. I really like encouraging I make fun of myself so much when I'm filming, you have no idea. You gotta laugh sometimes. I don't know. I don't know what that was. This reminds me a lot of ColourPop Good Sport. a lot. I did do a BYOP for that one as well. Tragically discontinued. Probably one of the best palettes ever made. Maybe that's why I was so drawn to this color story. Huh. Makes sense. It's all making sense now. I have sort of a duo huh? Is it something you're interested in? You've gotten the I'm trying, okay? Man, I just struggled to speak words this whole time. It's a little bit depressing, but I'm fine. Try to film another video. What do you guys want to see a video on? It'll be too late by the time you see this one because I'll already have filmed the next one I'm gonna film, but that's okay. I'm gonna keep making more, so. Anyway, hope you enjoyed that. Thank you for watching. Love your face so much. I hope that you already registered to vote because the registration deadlines have already come up in a bunch of states. So I hope that you did that, and make sure you check your registration deadlines because you might still be able to do it. Voting is cool. I hope you do it if you're able to. Love your face, wear a mask. Okay, bye.